guys, welcome to London Players Guild. Today, as we have seen finally majority of the set 10 cards, I'm joined by two very dear friends to talk about the design, the direction that the game is taking. I'm joined by Tommy Crane,
Hello.
and I'm joined by Ryan Kay.
Hello.
So the three of us chose the cards that we want to be talking about. Um, yeah, and we're just going to jump into the first one. I just made sure you guys can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it perfectly.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. So let's start with the first one, and that was a random choice. So they're in no particular order. I don't know in what order they're actually coming up. So Toa Twisted Sister, whose is this?
This was my pick.
So tell us about the card.
The reason I chose Towa Twisted Sister is more or less for the effect that they've given the card. Now, this isn't the first effect in the game that we've had where we've had take X card out of the opponent's drop area. We've had like King Yama, and there's been another one, but they've always had a pretty steep cost. We've never had one that's been a cantrip. So the way that I'm looking at this is it's an evolution of card effect design. So Bandai knew that drop effects were becoming more apparent. It was the way that they were going to evolve their game. So they evolved the game by giving us cards like Great Apes and Goku Saiyan Instincts, Ribgram Punishing Passion, Not Even a Scratch, the Grave Negates from set 7, I believe. There's a lot of interesting cards that came out that all utilize the drop area. Now, to have one on a cantrip is huge, because if you consider Wish decks, Maiden decks, there's a lot of decks right now that when they do something that triggers a counter window to an interaction within the drop, much the same as if you play Yu-Gi-Oh, opponent activates Monster Reborn, targets card, etc., etc. It makes it really interesting because they're giving us a way to directly play around it, but also the fact that this card doesn't specifically target what you pick. Now, I know a lot of cards in the game don't pick anyway, but when you look for your opponent's drop and your opponent activates, say, for example, Child's Wish, you look at what's in the drop and you go, right, well, we know we're taking the Bulma because it gives you full combo.
I do need to stop you right there because I think you have misconceptions about this card. If you activate Toa in response to Child's Wish is going to resolve, isn't it?
Yes, however, when you look into the drop, because of course there's no target declared on activation of Child's Wish.
Yes, that's
Child's
correct.
Wish, the target is declared upon resolution, but when you look through your opponent's drop, you can normally tell what card it is they're going to take. A lot of plays like that are telegraphed when you look at what's around you. So, say for example, they were using World Peace, and you know their deck has Fight Mastery because they've charged it. So they've got 4 energy, they World Peace for the leader effect, and they only have 1 path in drop. You know more than likely they're going to get that path that turn. So if you have the Toa on that window, you can counter window 1, bring in the Toa, remove the path from the drop, and remove that as an issue completely. It's a way to play around a lot of resurrection and cards that do stuff in drop areas, so you can play more safely around knowing what's going to be there.
I also
It's a
like the fact that it doesn't specify battle card.
Yes, this is also important because if you do take to consideration wish leaders, you have to have 7 Dragon Balls in the drop. Now, I don't know in what early wish decks you are casting cards turn 1, turn 2 without casting your Dragon Balls, but
I'm just
the
going to stop you here. In Dragon Ball, we don't cast cards at all. We play cards or activate cards. Sorry, we do need to follow the proper wording when we're talking about
yeah,
games to not
the
confuse
correct.
players. Yes.
Yeah, I knew where I was going with it in my head, but terminology is different in the
Yeah.
card game. Um, when you activate a card or attempt to play a card in wish decks, normally you don't do that early. So it's definitely a case of this deck might not be useful against wish leaders per se, but against take an example decks like Cell Surge, that top 5 take any card, put it into the drop. So Android 18 Perfection's Prey is another really good example. That card plays itself from the drop, which is a really good successor piece. You've got a piece in Durin, which is the Koi Cat 1 drop, there's a lot of cards now that utilize the drop area, and they're all getting very much more prevalent now. So I think that Toa was a much needed addition. Even if it is in the SR slot, it's definitely needed for gameplay evolution and give us that ability to counter the cards that are in the drop area, because it's something we couldn't do before.
I think the most prevalent. This card is going to be brilliant counter to the most prevalent Wish deck, which is Traitor Dende. Because that one does activate its wish before it awakens, before it wishes.
Also, you have the activate to play on the Vegex cards, the dredge cards. They activate in drop area. You can counter go on Toa to shuffle them back.
No, you cannot, because they're autos, not activate mains.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was the same.
Auto resolution, no. Toa resolves this effect on auto.
Yes, my bad.
And auto resolution turn player resolves the auto first. Unless you milled them, and then you use Toa to stop that from being played. But you just put it to the deck so they can mill it again.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting card, to say the least. There's a lot of different utilities with it that going forward is good. It's going to make this card really good. And it's going to be one of these cards that everyone realistically needs a playset of. Because at some point, it's going to be really good in certain formats and less good in others.
I mean, I'll also just point out the fact that this is a Toki Toki target.
I believe Toki Toki is $3,000, not $4,000.
No, I'm quite sure it's 4,000.
Let's have a nosy, shall we, at Toki Toki. Yeah. But if it is a Toki Toki target, it's another very good option that you can throw into this. Because it's just another play and brings something out that causes more problems for your opponent. Toki Toki requires a specified power of 3,000.
My bad. I don't know why I always thought that it was 4,000. But yeah.
See, even judges make mistakes.
I mean, you can't expect to know every single card by heart. It's just it's still a miracle I know Toki Toki is a card. Brian, anything to put into the conversation on Toa?
I like this card. I like the fact it replaces it as a player that, when choosing sideboard cards, which I think when I'm playing in tournaments, this could be evolved in. I like cards that disrupt the opponent. I like cards that replace itself, which this all does. The fact is, hang on, give me 1 second. Yes. Sorry about that. The fact is, it's. I feel like it was a bit late. I really think this would have done a lot against Purunga when that was a thing. But
it does feel like it has been designed when Purunga was a thing.
Yeah, but I still think, as Tommy's mentioned, it's effective. I've seen a lot of Surge Cell players being played now thanks to this new 9-drop. As mentioned, there are other cards, but I think what he says about it's getting better designed is true. Because when I was playing Purunga at Coventry, the main card people would side in, or I've had 2 people sided in against me, was the graveyard combos, where they had to drop a card and then they would select 1 card of mine to put in my deck. I feel this is just better. It's okay, it's 1 NG way with 0, the body on board, you get to draw a card, and you still basically do the effect.
Yep. I think there was some restrictions on those graveyard on those combo cards that shuffled the cards from graveyard, but yeah.
There was a power cost. You could only shuffle back a set power or less.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This one doesn't have any restriction at all. You can shuffle back the Desire cards that you don't want them to get back with Dragon Radar. You can shuffle back Unison cards if you feel fancy. I would actually not think shuffling back Unison card is a bad choice in the late game.
It really comes down to what direction they take with the Unison cards. If they start making Unison cards the same as they do with the like the Saiyan Instincts and things like that we've got now that have effects in the drop,
I don't think
Towa's just going to be a great addition to dealing with that.
I don't think that's going to happen, but we see a lot of Unison cards are stronger when they're played immediately rather than late game. If we can slow down the game long enough, they're not going to be that scary. Or if you just decide to ignore their unison card, sorry, if you just decide to ignore the unison card and just shuffle another copy back to the hand. Unison cards don't have a combo power.
That is true. But the one thing you guys have just mentioned, which I think this card, which I didn't realise and I actually now love thanks to this card, is the Ribrianne and the Goku Ape.
Yeah.
If you see someone combo off a Goku Ape or Ribrianne, and you know that's what they're probably going to plan next turn, if they then play a card and you do this, first target.
You can do that even if they don't play a card. This card is autos when this card is played. You can hard cast it during your turn, and it still works.
Oh, there you go. That's what I mean. If you know someone's going to play, is going for that next turn, maybe discard your last 2 cards, draw 2 because the hand's low, and you could got this. You're just happy.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. It counters Dr. Gero as well, which is one of the most popular super combos at the moment.
Was exactly what I was just about to mention. If you use Dr. Gero, dump a card, Arrival Broly, you just counterplay with this, but the card they dropped straight back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a decent design. I like this, but as I said, it looks like it has been designed ages ago. It's a bit sad that it has been designed ages ago. But that's how the card games work. For people who don't know, usually card sets are designed 2 or 3 in advance. So right now, this whole series is already finished designing. Bandai already knows the whole set 12.
But I do think if we're going with this direction with our cantrips now, the card game is only going to get more better and more complex. So we're going to get much more interactivity than we've had before.
As long as it's interactivity and not stopping your opponent from playing the game.
Yeah, there's a fine line on that, and you have to be very careful not to cross it when designing counterplay cards.
One card I wanted to put on and I didn't put on is the Red Unison Vegito. That's crossing the border.
Absolutely. That card has an insane neg to it.
Yeah. Okay, shall we move to the next one? And this one...
Mine. Talking about red unisons.
Yeah, go on.
So, when choosing my 2 cards, I decided to go in both directions. As a player that loves the competitive scene, events drives me. Every time an event comes up, especially in Europe, I get more and more excited, start practicing when I can. I want to choose a card I think would affect the meta. And then I want to choose a card I think is just funny, fun, and is what I want to play in casuals. This is my meta card. We just spoke about Vegito thinking it's crossing the line. I'm going to put a really nasty point out here. I think this is the best unison card in this set.
Oh, I'm not saying no. I just think one effect of Vegito has a decent balance of having 4 required red. But the problem with Vegito is the same that was with Gogeta 7. When you resolve it, you don't want to be on the opposite side of the field.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. And then I think it's the same with I'm going to butcher his name, the Michibukura, the yellow one.
Mechikabura.
Yeah, I think that -4 effect, the fact you're playing for 4 and you can do that at the same turn is disgusting.
But yeah, I do agree with you. Actually, Shinrenron is the strongest red unison card.
Yeah. Well, I actually want to go as far as saying he might be the strongest one out of a lot. I think Green has some good ones, but I think the fact that this literally utilizes...
Bardoc's auto might prove a good competitor for the top spot with Shinrenron.
I think so as well, but I'm going to explain why I think. So, obviously, you have to pay 3 is the minimum for this, which is 1 less than Vegeta, 1 more than Bardock, so Bardock has a bit of a favour on that. The thing I think this has onto it, yes, Bardock stops 1 combo card for the turn, it's +1 where you just get to discard a card, amazing. This permanence is my favourite thing in the card. It just says red cards, it doesn't say mono red.
Yes. But obviously, the fact that it's also cards, it's leader, unison, battle cards, everything.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So unison cards, leader, battle cards, all of that. But the fact that people saw this card and was like, Yamcha. And now I've been speaking to a few people. I've seen a few things on Untap. I have seen stuff like the Margin Vegeta leader, where Game 5K getting critical with this. I have seen stuff with the baby leader, just basically making it the minus thing ever. A mate of mine in Manchester, and I know many people's going to do this, has put this in cooler.
Of
And
course, you're
just
going to put
watch
this
it,
in cooler.
everyone. So,
I mean,
but,
let's
yeah.
go step by step by all the effects for Shinron, right? The first one lets you attack the battle cards in active mode, control the board, ignoring barrier. Second one, by making him bigger, you neg 2 of the opponent's battle cards by minus 15k, so you can remove majority of the medium-sized battle cards.
Yep.
It doesn't ignore barrier, but the fact that without attacking you can remove 2 battle cards is strong. And then you have essentially Crown of Retribution,
Yeah.
I think, the Broly.
Yeah.
For minus
It's actually
2.
a bit better.
Yeah, because the opponent doesn't need to have untapped energy, active energy and 25 or less, not 20 or less.
Yeah. So when you look at this card, it's basically an attack main like field card.
Yeah.
It's is that all you got? But without discarding a card and you plus a marker. It's a Broly Crown that you don't need 2 energy for, and it's a 25k power, and it's a 20k beat stick.
Yeah. It comes down
To
with
me,
at least 3 markers, so you can immediately do the minus 2.
yeah.
Which I repeatedly did whenever I played him.
To me, I just think, I think this is going to be one of the most meta unisons. As I said a few times, I think this might be maybe not the most meta, but the most used one in sideboards or boards, just because of the fact of red cooler, the red blue freezers. You've got your red yellow stuff, red green Broly, Surge Broly. Surge Broly will obviously love this card because you're rivaling with Broly's minus stuff, then minus stuff again, and they can't combo with the Broly Surge stuff. You obviously have Yamcha with his burn effects. Surge Coup.
Surge Coup is red.
Yeah, I think Baby could do something with this. I'm waiting to see.
I also like the fact.
Hasn't done stuff.
I also like the fact that the card is not tied into red leader in any way.
Yeah, that was another thing.
So anything that can play red can play this, which I quite like. It's a really strong card. I agree that this is something that needs to be reckoned with, and I think we're going to see it a lot on the top tables when the tournaments restart, if they restart on time for this card to still be relevant.
Well, yeah, this is where this was going to be my one downside. The fact that in Europe, card market has announced on Friday that their events are not going on. We still haven't heard about Cologne in Germany in October. But however, September, Set 11's out. Yeah. I'm one of the people that I hope Nova and is going to be red. And this is a reason why was Shadow Dragon being red. So I'm hoping maybe it's just Shadow Dragons are going to be a few colours. And as you said, and then the leader helps them more. But I'm just hoping that the Set 11 user cards just doesn't overpower all the Set 10 ones, because I really hope this is a relevant card.
That's totally different discussion I wanted to have, because they announced that this whole series is supposed to be helping, not outpowering the previous sets, right?
Right.
I don't know how I feel about that, because the set 10 is doing exactly the same thing that all the previous sets were doing. It's outpowering the previous sets.
Yeah. It really depends on where they went with their card design. If they designed set 10, 11, and 12 all at the same time and then individually put them into sets, all of the cards will be on the same level. However, if they develop set 10, then took a break, and then develop set 11, then took a break to develop set 12, you're going to have an increase in power level the whole way across, to the point where set 12 is going to have some absolute monsters if this is what's coming out of set 10.
I sincerely hope that we're not going to be introduced to 8 new themes in set 11 again, and the old themes are getting discarded again. But that's neither here or there.
Just before we also finish, Shimon, I actually
Yep.
haven't heard what Tommy viewed on this, so.
Oh yeah, sorry. Tell me you've been quiet.
To be honest, I think a lot of the points that I was going to raise have already been said. The fact that it's not tied specifically into red, you can use it in any form of red edition. The interactivity with the Amcha Burn cards going back to set 5. The interactivity with Cooler, the negging to mill, the that was another one as well. The Broadly Crown, the hand control. It covers just about every base that red needs, and with the ability to ignore barrier on cards by just attacking them directly, gives red such a boost because red has very few ways to deal with cards with barrier. The most predominant way that red has to deal with stuff is Cease to Exist, and that's a 3-cost card. You can play this and then have any number of ways of dealing any number of cards with barrier. It just makes Sin Shenron, Unison, and Calamity insane. Such a good card.
Yeah. Very versatile, definitely. What do we have here? Oh, that's Tommy's again.
Right. Now, anyone that knows me, anyone that's part of Team Out of Lives in our group, anyone that's friends with me knows that for the longest time, I have played Janemba. I have played nothing but Janemba. I have one top with Janemba. So to the day that they announced this leader, and it said, Sparking 20, if you run out of cards in your deck, shuffle your drop into your deck. Continue playing the game. This to me was massive. Ignoring all of my background with playing the most degenerate decks the game has ever seen, this Sparking 20 is the first leader that deliberately breaks the rules for its own game. This isn't a bad
No,
thing.
it's not.
I think this is absolutely insane. We've got the addition of cards with dredge effects, which is a term that I was introduced to this set because I don't know anything about Magic.
Dredge is a term from Magic. It's a keyword that essentially works with what is happening in this deck.
But as this leader came out, everyone looked at this leader and went, he's insane. And at the same time, they gave us the cards in the starter deck with it. We looked at all of them and went, they're insane. Now, unfortunately, we went from it's insane to let's abuse it. Trunks, the Trunks being a 3-drop to work with Nigrishi. The Vegeta doesn't work with Viara. However, there is a myriad of ways to get a 4-drop on board. The U3 became a massive engine for this. So, in terms of starter deck power, if you consider some of the earlier starter decks to what we have now, you can get this out of the box by 2 and get a couple of bits from the latest draft box, and you have a tier 1 deck. But it's not just that. The leader breaking the rules of the game in order to benefit itself means that where do we go from here? Having a Sparking 20 to ignore one of the key rules of the game is huge. If we have got this on a starter deck leader, just how mad is the later set's going to be?
I'm just going to point something out. The first leader that broke the rules was in set 2. Zamasu.
Yes, that is true. I forgot Zamasu was a thing.
Yeah, thank you. And the game has not gone that crazy. I mean, there was a crazy combo with it, but it was not that scary.
I just feel like with the power level that this leader introduces to the game, we know that Black Aggro is something that has been a threat for a while. Kid Q did it exceptionally well, even though it wasn't mono black. Demi-aggro started to get better with the addition of the cards in the Magnificent Collection.
And then BBD became a thing.
Yep, and now we have the U3 stuff coming out of Draft Box 5, Divine Multiverse, and now we have the Vegex leader, which just tops it all off. As far as we're going from here, it's going to get insane. This set just keeps getting better. Breaking the rules, like cards like this and Zamasu are really, really interesting because it means that you can't just end the game via normal means. You have to fight. So this leader, you're never going to win by decking them out. That's never going to be a thing. It's not like they have a 4-turn window to end the game.
That is actually not true. They need to have 20 cards in a drop area for that to trigger.
However, you would have to be removing or messing around with a lot of the cards in your opponent's drop. in order for that to be the case.
Or from their hand. Black
But
Smoke Shenron is a good counter to this deck, if you can
Because
get it out.
it warps the top 7 of the deck.
Yep. Or
Um,
warps 4 from hand, or warps the board.
So there's a lot of answers to this. They are high cost,
That's the problem. You need to survive that long.
and unfortunately, I am only aware of one leader that is able to survive the Vegex Storm so far, at least in my testing anyway, and
Jiren?
that is Hatchak.
Oh.
There is Jiren as well. There's Jiren and Hatchak. There's a few
Topo.
options. Topo, yeah, that as well. So there is options and ways to play around it.
But that's the thing. This is a meta that supports either a very aggressive decks or the ultimate stall decks. You don't have in between. You don't have mid-range decks anymore.
It also means that if you end up with a large event, say 300 players, which is sort of like the top end for the UK when we get events like Coventry, that was, I think, 300 or over. I am not 100% sure on the final numbers. But you are going to have games where you've got a Vegex mirror going on, and you've got a Hatch mirror going on. One player is going to be finished in 20 minutes. The others are going to be sat there for the full hour and 10 that it takes to finish a round. So it doesn't help in terms of game time taking forever, because you're forced to play slower stall decks to put yourself in a position to have a chance against a strong deck like this.
Or you need to be playing this deck, which is cheaper to play. For now, at least.
It doesn't make it impossible. I think that the format is going to be very, very deck builder heavy. There's a few at the minute, a few different decks that do really well against other decks, but I think that right now the deck building creativity from a lot of players, especially with the direction that the format is taking, that's going to be key moving forward. It's not like playing Surge Coup. You can just do what you did before, protect yourself for the turn 2, and then play on the counter back turn 3 and start really dishing out damage because of the errata on that.
It's going to be less skill relevant, because you're going to sit down against a deck that you cannot counter, or you're going to sit down against a deck that you cannot lose. It's all going to depend on your pairings more than on the way you play the game.
Yeah, I think pairings and deck building is going to be two key things going forward.
Deck choice, because I think the builds will look pretty much the same for Vegex, for Jiren. You're going to have a couple of cards different, the same as with the Trinember.
Yeah, there's going to be a few iterations.
Exactly. It's going to be essentially the same deck, and it will all depend on who you are playing against.
But I do think that going forward, especially considering that this is coming out of a starter deck, even if you don't play the U3 stuff, you just play this as a dredge deck, it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, I enjoyed when we were playing this. I really enjoyed playing it as a basic dredge deck without the abuse.
And then we did a test match after the stream, and I put you off the latest set.
Yeah, I mean, I was already off put, so don't worry about that. Ryan, what do you think? Sounds like your type of a deck, though.
So this is where we're going to go with this. As a meta player and as an aggro player, with what I did in Salford with Gohan, I should be the person here that's going, no, this deck's fine, let it be. You know, I want to play this deck at like whatever Cologne and just laugh my ass off turn 2 with 15 attacks. I don't. I absolutely hate this goddamn thing, and I wish it burned.
So even
this thing to me is dumb.
Yeah.
They have announced that they're not doing any start leaders for set 11 and 12. They're doing 3-star decks for the whole block. They announced
and those starter decks are supposed to be supported throughout set 11 and 12 as well, which means Vegex are going to get more support.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say, and that's why I'm not liking this. The whole Sparking 20 is not my issue. I think it's cool. I think the fact that you have basically built a deck that's turned around to Janimba and Cooler and went, ha 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 ha, is funny. It's something you've got to watch out for now if you're a Janimba and Cooler player. Yeah, you sit down and you basically go, well, I can't win. But you then got to realise that's a case. And
Cooler can still win. Cooler can still attack.
Well, yeah, exactly. Cooler can still win. Janimba, bit dodgy. The issue I have with this deck is what everyone's saying. Uni 3.
Yeah.
And War and Case Bibbidi Super Combo as well. Tested this with mates, with teammates, and they just mill 10 cards. And if they don't hit, it's fantastic, and I have a good chance of winning. If they hit all the pieces, I'm about to get absolutely destroyed. But the thing I don't like is the fact they can still mill 10.
Yeah.
They play one super combo and it's now a 20k plus combo piece. It makes it just feel like you have to go so hard for this deck. It shouldn't. It's basically boo with a hand. You can have a hand with this.
Yeah, what worries me most is that in set 11 or 12 we might see also a 5-drop that dredges, or that comes from dredge.
Yeah.
Which means that there's even more U3 cards that we can use with them.
Anilaza would be useful then.
Well,
and that
people
would be
use
scary.
Anilaza thanks to Hatch.
Yeah, but you need to pay free energy to get the Hatch out and then get Anilaza. Imagine if you could get a 5-drop for free when you dredge it.
That's what I mean. When I first saw this deck, I saw the Vegex cards. I thought it was cool. I was like most people. I thought it's a cool idea, something I want to test, everything. Then I don't blame anybody for doing this because I will admit, as soon as I saw Gohan reboot, first thing I said was, "Boy, I'm getting 3 triple strike attacks," and then my mind to, "Boy, I'm getting 6 triple strike attacks." Turn 3. So
Yeah.
I don't blame anybody for trying to break a deck. It's something I want to do when I want to play meta decks. But the fact that they have Bandai knew these draft box cards were good, it's why you do draft box. It's why they do draft box, and then come out with a leader that literally plays stuff for free is crazy. And then this whole Nagini stuff that people have worked out where you can block with Trunks and then bring it in for free. I really don't like where this deck can go. It makes me it's as I said, when we've been testing it, I have so many friends now playing Jiren, Topo, Hatch, and I absolutely hate those decks because they just don't seem fun to me. Because obviously I'm an aggro player, but they just don't seem fun anyway. So I've either got to go knowing I'm going to die turn 2, or I'm going to be there for an hour, and I genuinely grind my gears.
I'm going to keep a certain point here that I will be talking about later on when my cards start coming up. But I think the biggest problem here is free playing, and we can discuss that further on. For the next one, is it me finally? Yes, it's me! Yay! So we have Sin Shenron Leader. For me, the design is simple. We finally got the Shadow Dragons. The way the leader is written down is amazing for me. So he works with a yellow unison cards that have specified cost of 4, which at the moment is only Magikabura. But we know we're going to get more of those. And I am kind of curious if we're going to get a multicolor unison leaders. In that case, if we can get something that has total of total requirement cost 4, but it's for example 2 blue, 2 yellow, it would still work with the Awaken for this leader. And another thing is, it says pay 6 yellow, play up to 7 Shadow Dragons with different card names from your drop area. What I love about this is simple. We've only seen 6 Shadow Dragons. It's thematic, it's on point. It plays 7 Shadow Dragons because there were 7 Shadow Dragons. Technically you could play 1 of each, but because we only seen 2 so far, it tells us multiple things. They definitely will continue with developing at least this theme throughout the next 2 sets. We should expect something in Tournament Pack at least, because they should hit the total of 7 different ones. Even if you would be playing the last one just because it's a Shadow Dragon, even if it's a 1-drop vanilla that has 1k, you would, or even 3-drop vanilla that has 1k, you would still play it because it's a Shadow Dragon. You can just add it for free to this effect you would still be using. And I'm still excited that maybe we'll get a secret rare Shadow Dragon. But yeah, it shows me interesting design way. It supports mostly yellow stuff, I will be really annoyed if the next Shadow Dragons are not yellow. Like that, I'm going to have a beef with Bandai if that's going to happen. Because this is clearly made to work with yellow stuff. This is clearly made to support yellow. It requires 6 yellow energy to activate the effect. If they're going to force us to switch the leader in set 11 or set 12, I can understand in set 12 we get Omega Shenron leader. I'll be fine with that. But in set 11 I wouldn't want to swap the leader. I like this leader. I don't want to be forced to swap into a different leader just because it works with the new stuff. And although they're technically the same cards, the new stuff is going to be better. Because, for example, it's only, let's say it's going to be Nova Shenron. It's going to be red because that's the Scott's pet theory. And we're going to end up having cards that only work with red Shadow Dragon leader. You can still play them in this in Shenron, but they don't doing squat. But yeah, the direction this shows care. No, I want to say care for theme, same as with Pilaf. Guys, talk to me.
I was just gonna let you finish your point. I agree. I think, to me, this is. I might be wrong here because obviously Trunks has continued with his colour. There's a few others that continue with their colour, but to me, this is the first type of thing where we have seen them show it off for a few sets. Give us a little teaser with the negative energy balls, then a little teaser with the black smoke dragon. Then the first two are coming out, but they're showing us a little hint with the whole, as you said, 6 energy, and they're always in their design notes they're saying, "Stay tuned." And I think, as you said, there's definitely going to be some in tournament packs because doesn't the negative Dragon Balls for 1 drop say a 2 and a 3 cost and a 3 and a 4 cost? So we're missing 2 of them.
Yep.
For each, for Haze and Sin.
So expecting some 2 drops.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that, I know Haze goes from 1 drop to 3 drop or to 4 drop. We're missing the other one you could search, and the same with Sign Shenron. So I think they could be the tournaments. But as you've said, I feel like this is going to be over the 3 sets, and then we get the big boy Omega. I agree. If they change the color of it, they can't put it to specified like leader. This leader has to be a thing for all 3 sets. It has to be the leader that you look at. You just now, as soon as the next set's revealed, they reveal a few cards. You're just looking for Shadow Dragons because you want to see this leader get better. This, to me, I'm not picking up many cards this set, but I am picking up the Shadow Dragons just because of the support. We pretty much know they're going to get this theme. It's the Shadow Dragon theme.
Yeah, I'm actually the same. I'm going to pick up the Shadow Dragon set, and I want to keep this leader because this leader is amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I do think we're getting Omega Shenron as a secret, because it has been teased that the last secret, that in this set we still get a secret that's attached to the negative Shadow Balls and the Black Smoke Shenron. It has been teased.
Well, we know we've got SS4 Gogeta that's black. We know we have that 10-drop.
Yeah.
That's a thing. So
that has 45k. I'm just going to point something out. The only cards in the game that have 45k have Victory Strike.
Yeah. So this is going to be a thing. Well, this is where I want to. I know many people have discussed before. This is where I want to start putting something. People have mentioned, the secret rares could be green and what I forgot the blues because it's the starter deck colours, and that's how they sort of did. But then I would rather not have a shadow. I'd rather have another teaser. If I was Bandai, wouldn't it be awesome to have 3? Just keep giving teasers. Maybe it gets a bit better, and then set 12 when you have all the Shadow Dragons out. You basically have Omega as a secret rare. And it's something I wanted them to do because I think it'd just be funny. You then, if you have all 7 of like the big boy thingies, you basically eat them all up to play Omega, and Omega's basically Exodia. Like, I've always wanted that as an Omega Shenron. You have to have all the Shadow Dragons out,
Yeah.
all these
Oh,
Dragon Balls.
definitely that. But did Omega Shenron had different power levels as well after absorbing the balls?
I'm not
I
sure. I
don't
will admit,
remember the story
I
there.
stopped at GT. I
I don't remember
stopped
the story
GT.
there, but it would be nice to get like maybe we'll get a Sin Shenron as a secret in this set, and the next two sets we're just going to progress to Omega Shenron. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Although I would still not be surprised if we get an Omega Shenron here, and then they start teasing the next series.
So that's what I mean. So, like, part of me thinks they keep going on about this Dark Dragon Empire. Like could it be a Mitch, like that, the Michibukura?
Michikabura.
Full power. Yeah, could it be him for yellow? And then obviously it means we don't have no Shadow Dragons, but we have SS4 Gogeta, which is sort of like that era. And then next set, is it going to be Omega like first power, then Omega at full power? Or but this is what I mean. I don't know. I will admit, but
I want to
think
see
this,
secrets.
hopefully they'll be revealed this week, or it should be SBRs or something.
Yeah, I think we should get SPRs and secrets the same week. No, SPRs first and then the secrets, right? So SPRs for each of the colors and then the secret the following week, the three secrets.
So it's not long.
And think about the excitement for the commander when we have the SPRs and secrets.
I know, I am excited. So, but I like the leader. It has a Planet Vegeta effect where you restand all your Shadow Dragons. We've seen that 9-drop Shenron coming out turn 2 is something people need to worry about. And as we said, that's just Sign Shenron without him absorbing anything. That's just like if Nova does become red and it doesn't specify it has to be yellow. Oh, it does specify yellow Shadow Dragons. Yeah, to me, then I agree. They have to all stay yellow. I was about to say if it just says Shadow Dragons can switch stats,
No,
I would be on the course of Nova. Nova red would be fine.
I can agree with the fact that the leader only restands yellow and only yellow ones have blocker. So only Sin Shenron has blocker essentially. Maybe multicolor, but I would ideally. They're trying to push for monocolor, so I think they're going to keep it as a monocolor deck. I hope they're going to keep it as a monocolor deck, and all the cards are going to be yellow.
Yeah, no, I just after I properly read this again, I agree. Like I was in one of the ones that I admit I was. If Nova was red, I'd look forward to a bit because of the whole Sign Shenron unison with Nova. Because that's the one thing I remember from GT. Nova basically killed Sign Shenron kills Nova.
Yeah.
So, but now I really want an auto say yellow just because that auto. Like,
I would mostly be worried about the activate main. You would not be able to ever charge your other colors Shadow Dragons, right?
well, yeah, that as well.
Because you need 6
Unless
yellow.
they're literally going straight into multi next set.
Yeah. I doubt they're going to do many multis for the archetypes they're introducing here. Tommy, what's your opinion on Shadow Dragons?
Shadow Dragons, I feel like you have to take the fact that we are getting the 3 sets as a collective, and we've been told that we're going to get support across the 3 sets. Taking how much there is to put together into one ball, there's a lot of stuff with the Shadow Dragons. There's the balls, the forms, all the way up to the top. Having our opening set having Sin and Nova
Haze.
already it's Haze, isn't it? Sorry. Having Haze and Sin is fantastic. The cards on their own individually are absolutely insane. Haze having the ability to just Shigesh Kid Goku cards, when you combo it, again, it makes his deck super, super defensive. And then on top of that, you've got the blockers that restand the it's not quite a Bloodlust, but an Effect Negation on the 9-drop, who also has Revenge, which I think is something that hasn't been mentioned yet.
Yep.
That card being able to just deal with any battle card without any card interaction for it.
Well, it needs to be attacked.
There needs to be an attack declared in general. But
yeah, on the battle card with the Revenge.
Well, it's a blocker, ain't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a
blocker.
blocker.
So
yeah, it's a
he can just
blocker
play
Revenge
solo.
that untaps at the switches to active mode at the end of the turn with the leader effect.
Yeah. Go on.
I feel like going forward, this deck's only going to get stronger. More than likely, we'll have to stay mono because there's a lot of specified yellow cards in it. When you look at the yellow wording on the leader, there's a lot of things that repetitively say yellow. So I
Yeah.
think keeping it mono is not even a bad thing. But I feel like this deck's only going to get stronger, and it's going to get even worse if they print a card that gives Shadow Dragons Barrier. Because if they give that 9-drop Barrier, we are going to have a menace on our hands. Because as a 9-drop to come out that early is a problem to deal with to start with.
This genuinely, if they give it barrier, it'll feel like apes again, in my opinion.
Yeah,
If
a
not better.
bit. But it's a bit scarier because you started the apes on turn 3. Here
That's what
you
I mean.
start an ape on turn 2.
That's what I mean. Yep.
It's an
Uh,
8 with a Floodgate effect, which would make it really, really good.
yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. Ginyu!
Pair.
That's your pair.
Yes. So, as I mentioned, we signed with the Shenron Unison. I have two sides of me. Um, with people that watch our commander, with people that watched our tournament where it was no bounds no rata, they saw the sort of meta, serious side of me. I want to play to win. I want to play to generate decks. I played Gohan. I played some others. I really, when I get into a competitive mindset, I like to win. But then the other side of me is my sort of commander fun side. I play Green Hercule. I'll play. How many times can I get Bibbidi out? I'll play other fun decks and I'll play stuff for fun and stupidity. Welcome to my new ones, guys. The Green Ginyu, I will admit, I have been tested for the last 2 weeks and it's the most fun deck I've ever played.
Oh, I agree. I've been playing with that deck as well, right, Tommy?
Yeah, we played that on a stream where we did. I believe
Yeah.
it was green versus. Was
I
it
was
green
a
versus red?
green. I was only green. I
Oh, no, it
think.
was only green. Yeah, because we did Frieza, didn't we? We did
Yeah.
Frieza and we did. I think we did the Goku as well. But no, we tested green, and that the Ginyu being able to swarm the board like it can. We're quite lucky that all of the individual little force members that they have unique. If they
Yeah.
didn't have unique, we would have another deck like Vegex on our hands,
I
where
mean,
you just start throwing these cards on board.
if you go second and if you have good enough hand, you can still storm out on turn 2.
Oh, yeah, I'll admit. So, the initial
8
build I
attacks?
ran. Go on.
No, so I was just counting. You can get 8 attacks on turn 2 with Ginyu.
Yeah, if you can storm out like mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the build I went with just because I wanted to keep theme and it's something I want to do in Commander, so I'm hoping we get a sort of SBR, maybe green card, is I did green, yellow, Ginyu. Obviously you have the normal yellow Ginyu Force, you have green ones. You put in stuff like Freezer's Core, do some other stuff, and it's actually really fun. I thought the deck was just going to be, oh, you swarm aboard, you swing. This 4-drop Ginyu is the backbone of the force, is something crazy. I didn't realise how good of a card this could be. So if we look at the card properly, its activate main is you need one of each Ginyu force. The fact that it doesn't specify green is stupid. So yeah, you just want to. I don't know if people can see that sort of wording on it.
There we go.
Yeah. So here you go. If you have at least one Raccoon, Jace, Burton, Goldo card in play, play this card from your hand. Can't play copies of this card for the turn. I feel like that was necessary because the fact that you could just spam this out would be disgusting.
Yeah, you'll just drop them for free. Yeah, again, I'm going to talk about this in the next point, but yeah. Go on.
Yeah, but then the thing for me that was so crazy was it didn't specify green. The reason is I have done this where turn one I will charge yellow and play Freezer's Core. I'll set my deck for a 2-drop green Raccoon, which then it auto goes when it's played. It lets me play a 2-drop green from my hand. I can play Goldo Alberta, start searching my cards, start doing stuff in my deck. On turn 3, my favourite turn 3 play is playing the Ginyu that just turns around and says, play as many Ginyu force from your hand that isn't Ginyu. You just
Yep.
drop all your yellow ones, drop all your greens. On turn 3, I play this guy. I steal whatever big boys or whatever they have out, swing with it. You then go into the other 4-drop, which just basically says KO the card you've just swung with for free, and have a 30k double striker, and then give all your green Ginyu Force 10k. To me, that is crazy that you can do that turn 3. So I will have all 4 green Ginyu guys out at 25k, a 30k double striker, and if you have the 4-drop, I think it was one of the first tournament pack cards, where it was like powerful Ginyu Force, where when you combo with it, all your Ginyu Force gain
Oh, yeah.
5k as well.
I remember where
I think,
Cauliflower was a deck with that.
yeah, I think I tested with a teammate, and at one point I had all 4 green Ginyu Force, 2 yellow Raccoons, the 3-drop Ginyu, the 2 yellow Jaces that let me search for top 3 cards on my deck, and play a Ginyu Force card that's not Ginyu. I had basically 12 cards. All my green ones were like 30k. The Ginyu was like 40k double striker, and then the yellow ones were all 15k. And I just went swing, 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 swing. It's a fun deck that I don't think could end up being meta worthy just because of how many store decks and outs there are. But if you're going to take this to a locals where they might do a non-meta week and everything, I think it's really good, and
I
I
think it's
think
a
it's the
fun
most fun
deck.
people have.
I think it's an enjoyable deck.
Yeah,
I really, really like this deck. It's fun, it's simple, but it makes you think as well.
yeah.
And it doesn't take forever to make its turn. Like, this is the meta
No.
I would like to play. I'm not going to lie.
To me, I think the fact that this is not meta is okay. Unfortunately, I won't be able to play this in big tournaments as
Yeah.
much as this will be like a local thing. This might be an online tournament thing if I want a few fun online tournaments. But when we look at card design, I think the fact that it's a free play card, both of them, when it's played,
Yeah.
because it gives itself 10k. Okay, it's only 10k on your opponent's turn, but it's the fact that the free play, it's 30k double striker, gives all the rest of your cards 10k is just amazing. But that backbone of force doesn't have a limit on what you steal. Okay, you can't
Yeah.
steal cards with barrier.
I've,
Oh well.
I've seen that as well. Yeah, you can steal a secret even if you survive the attack of a secret.
Yeah, like I I don't know if I know there's cards that steal cards that might have a powerful. So like Body Change Ginyu. Body Change Ginyu was around for quite a bit of time because of that whole ruling where when you stole it, you got their auto. If that was still a thing and you now have a Ginyu that steals anything for free, this card would,
Uh, isn't it still a thing? Has something changed?
as far as I remember, it just because you just changed it from one battle area to another, you're not playing it.
You're not playing it. You don't get when played auto. You get the when the card is removed though.
Yeah, that's true. But what I mean is, could you imagine when the red Ginyu for when that red Ginyu, everyone was there was the ruling of when it you did get the when you played autos
No,
with
I
this.
don't remember that ever being a thing. I remember there was a whole confusion with what happens if you take the one drop green Broly.
Right, that's me thinking. Then I thought it was last year. Like I thought that's why people were playing the body change Ginyu.
No, the
Like
body
say,
change Ginyu was played because it was a child's wish target.
right there you go. That's my bad.
And it
But the
could
fact that
take
it's
other child's wish targets.
yeah, that's my bad then. But the fact was, I still think a 4-drop that can steal stuff is amazing.
Yeah, free
And
playing 4 drop that I I don't actually oh no, it doesn't need to be free played. If you can hardcast it. Oh, such a shame that World Peace is not a card anymore, isn't it? Or Plea for Salvation.
that's what I mean. And then it's as I said. Imagine if they didn't have that text where it says you can't play copies of this card.
That's only if you free play him. His effect activates also when he's normally played, and if
Yeah, but
Plea for Salvation or World Peace have been unaffected. Now that tells me why they reduced the cost on both of those cards to free.
yeah.
Because I didn't
So that's what I
understand
mean.
that.
I feel like this card shows it shows a fun archetype, a non-meta archetype, which I love. But it shows a card design that, if they did put it in a meta deck, would be one of the strongest cards in the game. Like, imagine if there was a Shadow Dragon with this or something.
Yeah.
Or imagine if Dredgeku had this. You know?
Well, we're going to see that. Okay, let's go to the last one. And that's going to be mine. And this is This is going to be a rant, so if you guys don't enjoy rants, then I'm sorry. So this is an archetype as a whole. It's the counterplay cards that say that you can't activate the counterplay skill of other cards this turn, and you can activate this card for free from your hand if you have a unison card of the same color with 2 or more counters or markers on them. And those are essentially free battle cards that you can just drop. And here I'm going to say why this is not the only problem I have with the game. The general problem I have at the moment is free playing. Vegex, the biggest problem, you free play any amount of battle cards, then the biggest problem, you can free play them. Anytime you can drop a battle card for free without much of a setup or any setup at all, and with no cost to speak of, it's bad. Looking at those cards, for example, the only thing that you need to set up is a unison card with 2 or more counters. 2 or more markers of the same color as the card. But if you're playing those cards, you are going to be playing unison cards because you're playing a slower deck, right? You set yourself up, and then suddenly you have those battle cards you can just drop. Frieza, I think, is really oppressive, and so is Yamcha. Trunks is less oppressive because to use his effect, you don't play him. You put him in the drop area. But you can just play him as well if you don't feel that whatever is played is being dangerous to you. But Yamcha, you play it, and 2 of your opponent's battle cards get minus 15k for the turn. A Frieza, you play it and kill something that costs 7 or less. Those are heavy control cards, and for people who play Magic, you know how oppressive cards like Force of Will or Force of Negation, I think it is called, how oppressive those cards can be. Counter cards that you can play for free. In this case, they also give you a creature or a battle card in this situation. Yeah, Frieza is small, he's just 10k, but a body on board is a body on board, which means you can use it to threaten their battle cards. Yamcha is 15k, he can hit the leader awakened and unawakened. Free playing. Like, Dragon Ball is going towards the area where there's tons of free playing and it's not healthy. I mean, do you guys agree, disagree with me?
Going along the lines of the cards like the U3 stuff, the Dredge X, having free play cards, even taking back a trip down memory lane, looking at Swap, even though they weren't on paper free plays, they were still very, very strong, and it became very oppressive.
Oh, Bardock was a free play. So, you play a card, draw a card, so it replaced itself in its hand. You attack, so you got the value of the battle card. You put it back in hand and got another battle card that can attack, replace itself, and then you have another card to attack. They were pretty much free play. The swap engine was a free play.
Comparing from where we were then to where we are now, the power of the free play cards is just getting stronger. That Yamcha is that all you got without the cost.
Yeah.
The Frieza is I'm trying to think of a card that carries 7 or less. It's a destroying version of Dimensional Banisher Fu with no cost. Trunks.
I would say it's more like Father-Son Kamehameha.
Yeah, that makes more sense. So it's a Father-Son Kamehameha with no cost. Trunks is a no
and with a body.
Trunks is either a body or a no limit Desperate Measures, which is really good. The Vegeta, arguably the worst, is actually my favorite because I just think it's such a fantastic card. Bringing in blockers for free, brilliant. But I like stall-y stuff and degenerate stuff. So to me, the keyword blocker's brilliant. But again,
and it also crushes balls, right?
It brings something in rest, and you bring him in as well. So he's essentially 2 negates.
Yeah.
All of these free play cards, they are just getting stronger, and it's starting to become a problem. Now, don't get me wrong. If we start going too far forward with a lot of these card effects, the game's going to get out of hand without any real counters. But making counters like this that don't have any cost at all is, I feel, a little too far. That Yamcha is an incentive alone to play red to stop you free right now. Because all you have to do is put that unison on board and go, pass. That Yamcha is essentially 2 negates. And if you were to combo off the field, it's potentially 3. It's fantastic as cards go. Doesn't mean that it's good for the game, because having a free play, is that what you got? Remove your opponent's stuff and get a 5k combo. It's busted. It's really, really busted. But I feel like it's going to be such a good card to play. But it forces you into this boat of releasing cards on this caliber means we have to play unisons if we want to play these good cards. It's very much pushing their card game direction. So we're either going to see a lot of these cards or none of them at all. But I do believe, especially the Frieza and the Yamcha, we are going to see them a lot.
Yeah.
The red and green unison cards are really, really good.
I think we can actually also see Vegeta in Shadow Dragons. And
yeah,
Topo.
The Vegeta I was planning to put in Topo myself.
Yeah.
And also Shadow Dragons, it's just, again, why not? It's another free play negate, because you put Sunny in rest when you play it.
Yeah.
It's just another really good card, and you have to have a unison to awaken early, so there's no harm in it. Sorry, Ryan, I know I cut you off earlier.
No, to be honest, I agree. Like, I've used free play cards myself in the way of the not the Universe free ones, but the whole Beerus with the Gohan deck. The whole, you drop it with Pan, you drop it with the Bardock Overwhelm. It then is a 15k beat stick, which also has a successor target. So I've been one to abuse free play stuff myself. But it's as everyone said, the fact that these are counterplay cards is the thing. The fact that you have free play cards on your turn is already an issue, but the fact you can now free play a card on your opponent's turn just by having a unison with 2 markers, and pretty much all of them have a strong effect in some shape or form. Okay, they're all different types, but it's, as we've said, a teammate of mine plays a Trunks deck with the whole Vegito line because his favourite card is Vegito. This Trunks, I have come up against him, and this Trunks basically just shuts down a whole turn for me, or 2 turns for me.
Yeah.
This Frieza, yes, it's only 10k, but it literally pops a 7 drop or less, and it's a 5 cost successor target. The Yamcha, we've all said, it minuses 2 cards by 15k. You're going to obviously stick this in cooler with Saiyan Shenron. You're going to obviously stick this in the Yamcha deck. Vegeta, blocker, and as we said, it literally stops the skill. It's going to be in Topo. It's going to be in Shadow Dragons. All of these cards are very, very powerful. And it makes me think, with them knowing this, is that one-drop Kakashi now, or whatever his name, the little robot, Kakashi or whatever, is this something that... Pardon?
Koitsukai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. Is this now a thing where everybody's going to have to pull it? It was already most decks were putting it sideboard because of cards, but is it now is it now a necessary for as soon as you see a unison card? Because of the whole fact that you just obviously for 1 NG sent to your warp, and if they play a battle card, they have to drop 2 cards. Are we now? Is this now the new TN Tau where you have to pull in sideboard? Because the whole point of those cards being banned was it was oppressive for a certain play type, but it was also because it was in everybody's sideboard. Or is it becoming the same sort of thing with that 1-drop little guy because of these?
Yeah, Koitsukai might be a card that's going to see a spike on being used.
Yeah.
And
Also have to consider Katsukoi has implications against decks running cards like Topo, Great Ape Bardock, Raiders Warcry.
Well, that's what I mean. We were seeing it anyway, but these cards now, after testing against, I think all of them, makes me just now. As soon as I start getting ready for an event, I know I'm gonna have to pick up 2 or 3 of them because they're gonna be the first cards I want in my sideboard.
it's... to be fair, I would actually consider putting it in the main board at this point. When set 10 comes out.
Oh, if that's the case, then is that an issue on its own? Have we got
Yes,
to a
it
point
is.
where Bandai's... Is it basically another Cronoa where people are having to
Yeah.
main board a card to stop the card?
Yeah. It's exactly the Chronoa problem. It's the problem of the silver bullet that doesn't solve anything because you need to see it. Okay, this is, if anything, if that's going to be the meta, the ones we're going to see most are going to be green and yellow, cause Jiro. We can drop Koitsukai, right?
Yeah.
Because I think Jiro can drop any card.
I know Jiro can drop, I believe it's just green and yellow.
I think it's only for the leader, but let's quickly find this. He was in the last set, right?
One green or yellow battle card with an energy cost of 4 or
Okay.
less from your deck, place it in the drop area, then shuffle your deck.
Okay, so he can't drop this one, so you don't have actually a way of getting a reliable access to it. So how does the card help you? You need to hard mulligan for it. It's the same problem that I have with U3 Storm. Yes, you have answers to it. You have Protector of People, Nimbus, and the new green one, right? You need to mulligan to get into it. And suddenly you are rewarded for playing yellow or green in your deck, because you can play 8 answers. The best number is, I think, 7? I did the math on this. It's 6 or 7 answers to have in your deck to ensure you have the highest chance of seeing it in your opening hand. But then you play against something that's not Storm, and those cards are dead. And the problem is that those cards don't really help that much if the Storm deck goes first. There's lots of issues here.
As powerful as the cards are, I do feel that there is an element in their card design, removing cost completely is what pushes them over the edge.
Yeah.
These are going to be some of the must-haves coming out of this set, and I can see these being SPRs as well. The
Yep.
Bandai pushing that direction to really be like, oh look, you really want these? Let's make them even prettier, which isn't a bad thing because everyone loves a card with a great artwork and a fantastic effect.
I
But-
have no issue with SPRs. I mean, it's just a nicer looking version for a card that everyone has an access to either way.
Well, we have seen the extra cards get one. The Dearest Four or
Yeah.
them. We saw the super combos get one. We feel like it will make sense that some unison cards will get one because it's a unison set. But I think if you look at the direction they're going, it would make absolute sense for these 4 to be SBRs.
I mean, seeing
it
that
just
there are
follows the trend.
limited amount of cards in SPR slot, I actually don't think those are getting SPRs. I think it's going to be unison cards, some utility cards from common, uncommon, or rare set. Because they've been doing
Forget
that
they
for the
did
last
that.
couple of sets.
Yeah, I forgot they did that.
Maybe the counterplays, the ones that you can play by ditching 2 cards from hand. If you have a unison card.
Yeah, potentially.
So, I'm not convinced on the SPRs, but the fact that those cards are essentially a must-have is what's problematic for me. And the fact that you need to get those cards in case in the future they make multicolor unison cards.
That's the thing. I think is that why have they done that permanent? Of you can't I will admit I can't read it that well. But is there permanent the one where you don't have to you can't play any more counterplays?
No, it's the actual counterplay.
Right.
So if you activate this counterplay, you can't activate counterplay skills for the rest of the turn. The permanent says that you can activate this card's counter skill without paying the cost if you have a unison of the same color with 2 or more markers.
Right. That's what I mean. Like if they do bring out multicolor unisons, the fact that that counterplay is there, that thing on the counterplay is there, is the reason they did that was because they know how bad these cards are. Like you could just keep doing them, that's fine. But having a multicolour unison and having 8 of these cards in the deck,
That is fine. You can still have 8 of those cards if you're going to have a green red with a decent effect, or a blue green, or any combination really. The fact that you have an access to 2 different ones that your opponent needs to play around in 2 different ways. Like if you're playing against blue yellow and your opponent has a blue yellow unison, right? You play around Trunks in a different way that you play around Vegeta. You play around Frieza a different way that you play around Yamcha. You see what I'm saying?
Taking Broly Surge as an example, if Broly Surge gets a really good red-green unison, having access to both Frieza and Yamcha is, again, free play counterplays. It's going to make that deck even more nuts than it already is. That deck can do some really crazy things. And on top of that, it's just getting more interactivity at this point with no cost. It's absolutely mad.
I know why they did it, because they want to push the unison cards, but I don't like that they did it. Because this is not thinking about the future. They right now created a very extreme meta. You have only far extremes, or only very extreme aggro, or very extreme control. You don't have mid-range, you don't have anything in between. In-between decks don't exist, sadly.
and the ones that did have been nerfed.
It's just... And the one that's the most problematic aggro deck is Hanky Dory. Which I don't understand, but... Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Next time we're going to be doing this is going to be about the secret rare cards. Sorry to leave on such a down note, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments what cards or designs are you excited most from the new set. And yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I know you're just doing the exit, but as you said, sorry to leave them down. Just to make sure we don't, should we all take a guess on what we think the secret rares are and see how many of us get it right? Obviously, we know Gogeta, but we don't know the other two.
I'm going to say it's Omega Shenron and Cell Xeno or Frieza Xeno.
I'm going to go Michibora, and I'll go Trunks with his ginormous sword.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a bit of a stab in the dark. I don't mind being wrong. I was wrong guessing was going to get an SCR leader as a long-time joke going in the Allies group. I would like a Pilaf or Yamcha, so some form of Earthling. And I would also like Trunks with a giant sword, because Trunks with a giant sword as an SPR sounds fantastic.
Cool. So now we're not ending on the down note. Let us know what do you think is going to be the next secret rare coming up. Yeah. Let us know in the comments what do you think about the design of set 10. What secret rares would you like to see? Or what SPRs would you like to see? Because we also had a discussion about that. And see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.
Hey everyone, Scott here. Thank you for watching that video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you want to continue to support LPG outside of YouTube, I would implore you to check out our Patreon, our Facebook page, twitch.tv/playersguild, and our own site, londonplayersguild.com, all of which are linked in the description below. If you can't, not a problem. We just hope you enjoyed your stay, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.